Hello for everyone joining. My name is Jessie Pfau. I'm a registered nurse, BSN, and I have a background in public health, and I'm working at the Minneapolis VA in the suicide prevention program. My official title is a Community Engagement and Partnerships Coordinator within the Suicide Prevention Program, and I can be reached at jessica.pfau@va.gov. And we're here to talk about what mental health resources and suicide prevention resources are available through the VA. So the Minneapolis VA, just for background, is located at 1 Veterans Drive in Minneapolis. We service 51 counties in Minnesota and Wisconsin. We have 13 VA community clinics within those 51 counties. If you wanted to see if your community has a VA community clinic and you wanted to see where those other ones are located, you can go to va.gov/directory to find out where we are located within the state. Here in the facility, we have inpatient mental health and behavioral health services. In the clinics and as well here in the facility, we have outpatient mental and behavioral health. We also have a mental health walk-in, which is open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And that is located in 1P 170 of the hospital, which is right across from the cafeteria. We don't have inpatient, obviously, in the community outpatient clinics, but if somebody did walk in and need inpatient services, they could go to one of the community clinics, and then that community clinic would look into the community or transport here to the Minneapolis VA to see where a bed would be available for that person. Here for mental health services, we include primary care into mental health because we're all interconnected. And we here at the primary care, it encompasses our physical and mental health care as well as our women's clinic. We also have several other offerings for primary care, such as eye clinic, audiology, ear clinic, pain management clinic, occupational therapy, physical therapy, TBI clinics, PTSD clinics, things like that. We're a full servicing hospital. We also have an integrative medicine clinic through our Center for Integrative Health and Healing, which can be located by calling 612-467-3745. And through this clinic, we offer acupuncture, yoga, and meditation, and other things such as health coaching, Tai Chi, different things like that. We're really focusing on whole health, which is meeting the person where they're at, to get them connected to the healthcare that they need and want to feel at their best. And so whole health, we've adapted the whole health model, which recognizes you as a whole person and helps support your unique answers to the question of what would you do if your health were the best it could be? So what would you do if you always felt good and you were at optimal level of health? And to go through the whole health training and to get enrolled into that, that is open to veterans, families, caregivers, and staff on the second Wednesday of every month from 10 to 11, and on the third Tuesday of the month from 1 to 2, and that's located here in the Minneapolis VA in room 1B 102. What we help with here at the hospital, and a lot of this can be tackled in primary care, but it also can be tackled in our mental health care clinics, outpatient, inpatient, different clinics and things like that through different modalities, whether it's in person or whether you're seeing your provider through VTEL, which is through a video app. We can help with stress, anxiety, worry, tension, panic, fears that can be related to all sorts of psychosocial stressors. We can help with sadness, depression, grief, suicidal thoughts and behaviors, as well as sleep issues such as insomnia, nightmares, fatigue, or shift changes at work. We can also help with pain management. We have our own pain management clinic that helps people manage, and we can do alternative things such as acupuncture and chiropractic care within those pain management clinics. We offer help with housing and employment, as well as with family challenges such as parenting, relationships, coping with illnesses, caregiving, which isn't just synonymous to the veteran. The caregivers, which it could be a spouse or a family member, can also receive services here through the VA for being a caregiver. We help with problems with alcohol, drugs, and gambling and other forms of addiction. We help people cope with trauma, with whether it's going through PTSD, combat sexual assaults, military sexual trauma. natural disasters, motor vehicle accidents and TBIs, different things like that. We can help with aging, memory loss, changes in personality and behaviors, which sometimes can happen with things such as dementia and Alzheimer's. We can also help when someone is seeing or hearing things that other people can't perceive. So if they're experiencing hallucinations or cognitive distortions, we can help treat that, as well as treating extreme behavior changes, such as someone being too elevated, too happy, impulsive, maybe going on spending sprees, or the opposite of being too low, being really depressed and being able to function normally because of that depression. We can also help folks, and this is part of the whole health, is setting and reaching goals and helping with recovery. Recovery isn't just recovering from drugs and alcohol. It's also can be recovering from trauma, recovering from an episode of anxiety, recovering from an episode of bipolar disorder, things like that. So if you're not enrolled at the Minneapolis VA Medical Center, you can call patient eligibility at 612-275-2071, or you can go through your county veteran service officer to see what you're eligible for. And you can enroll online for healthcare benefits at va.gov. You just need to upload a copy of your DD-214. And I'd like to mention that we always hear from older veterans that they're not using the facility or they're not using their healthcare benefits because they want to save space for those who need it, for the younger veterans or those who might be more ill than they are. And we want to say that we are open to every veteran, and the more veterans that we get to treat, the better our healthcare facility will become. We get funding for each veteran that enrolls into health benefits. And so even if a veteran only uses us for their primary care appointment annual physical once a year, it still benefits them to get enrolled into using the healthcare system. We also have the transition care management program. So if you're still serving in the military and qualify as a veteran, or you've discharged since 1998 and are in need of assistance with accessing or coordinating care, you can get a case manager through the post 9/11 transition care management program. And to do that, you can call 612-467-3757. They can also walk you through eligibility and things like that. Here in the suicide prevention program through the mental health service line, we have the Veterans Crisis Line, which we highly encourage anybody listening to this presentation to enter that number into your phone. It's 1-800-273-8825. That number is a national number, but you press 1 and it brings you to the Veterans Crisis Line, which we have 3 crisis line call centers in the United States. They are staffed 24/7, 365. We do not have a rollover line. And a lot of our Veterans Crisis Line workers are veterans themselves. And so a lot of times veterans will want to talk to another veteran, and they have that opportunity to ask for that if they call the Veterans Crisis Line. If they don't want to use the call, they can text 838-255, or they can chat with the Veterans Crisis Line on net, veteranscrisisline.net. I recently did a test on the Veterans Crisis Line, and they responded to me within 30 seconds of my initial question. And so it is a pretty quick turnaround if someone is in crisis and wanting to talk to somebody. We also offer our SAVE training, which is our suicide prevention training here at the VA, and it stands for signs, asking, validating, and encouraging or expediting getting help. So we really want to train as many people as we can in the community to be watchful for signs and symptoms of suicide, to know how to ask a veteran and assess for risk, validate the veteran's experience, and encourage the veteran to get back connected into care, or expedite getting them to care, which could potentially mean calling 911 or bringing them here to the ER or to our walk-in clinic. Here on the suicide prevention program, we also do consultations within the medical center to our primary care clinics and other areas that are serving our veterans in case they have concerns about a veteran that could be at high risk. And we are taking the community approach for suicide prevention. So we've created community suicide prevention coalitions. And we're really working upstream and following that public health approach for suicide prevention that was put out a couple of years back by the CDC to help engage communities and educate and empower everyone to be thinking of suicide prevention as their responsibility, and also knowing how to assess and ask for about risks. With our suicide prevention coalitions, we have one here in the Twin Cities and also one in Northeast Minnesota. We'll be starting one in Southern Minnesota as well as Wisconsin. And if you have any questions or would like to be interested in joining the coalitions, you can email me directly. Our program manager for our suicide prevention is David Holwinski. Our program coordinator is Eric Wittenberg, and they both are their social work degree. And you can also access mental health services and different resources online at mentalhealth.va.gov/suicide_prevention, or just at mentalhealth.va.gov. There's a lot of handouts and other resources available there. And you can also take our suicide prevention training if you didn't take it in person from somebody here within the program through an organization called psycharmor.org. It is free to sign up, but you do have to create an account to view that training. And I'm going to hand it over to Scott Braden, who will talk to you now about what the vet centers have to offer.
Well, my name is Scott Braden with the St. Paul Vet Center and the Veteran Outreach Program. What I do is connect with veterans and partners within the community to connect into the services at the VA and at the vet centers. Vet centers are community-based counseling centers that provide a wide range of social and psychological services. Readjustment counseling is counseling that basically helps veterans to transition from being in the military to living a normal and productive life when they get out, or while they're actively serving in the Guard or in the Reserve. They can also access the vet centers, and we can help people with dealing with many different types of readjustment, whether it be combat related, military sexual trauma, something related to the family issues that go with deployments, and seeing some of the trauma and the difficulties that veterans and active duty members face. Let's see. In Minnesota, we have 3 different vet centers. We have the Brooklyn Park, St. Paul, and Duluth. Here we have the different phone numbers that you can contact for us. And with the vet centers, it's very simple. You can either walk right in the office and get help. All of these vet centers will be open between 8 and 16:30. Otherwise, you just call the number and make an appointment. Just let them know what's going on. It's very easy to get set up with the vet center. When you call the number, you're going to talk to a staff member at the vet center directly, and they'll walk you through the process and set you up with a time to meet with a counselor. It's the whole purpose of the vet center is to be able to walk right in the door, not go through eligibility process and everything. We'll do that once you come to the facility and get you set up. So there's the contact information. So individual, group counseling for veteran service members and their families. The other services are family counseling, the bereavement counseling. Now, bereavement counseling could be you losing a family member that was serving on active duty, and their family members can go and go to a vet center and process through, learn how to cope with some of that, get through there. That's a service provided that's to family members that are not even, served in the military, but they're family members. So as long as they, we lost that member while they're serving in active duty, you can go to a vet center. The military sexual trauma counseling referral, that's including any kind of military sexual trauma, whether it's rape, witnessing rape, witnessing assault, or being part of an assault. That's any of those things you can go to a vet center for. We do outreach and education and community events, so it's helping veterans to access the different benefits throughout the vet centers. Substance abuse assessment and referral, so we can help veterans with their substance abuse, working through that. We do have several groups that work with substance abuse. Employment assessment and referral, so we are able to help veterans with getting access to some of the other services out there, DEED, or referring them to some of the groups in the community that are helping veterans with employment. VBA, we actually have a VBA representative in our office once a week that comes in and helps people with their questions. Maybe they were denied for benefits, or they're learning what they have to do to apply for benefits. That's very helpful to have someone that's actually working with the VBA that comes in and explains the process to veterans and walks them through everything. Screening referral for medical issues, including TBI and depression. So we can help with referring to the VA medical centers. Sometimes veterans aren't very comfortable going to the VA medical center, so our counselors are good at helping them through that process. Our counselors here are all veterans that have dealt with that themselves, so they understand the process and they understand some of the anxiety that goes along with getting connected to the VA medical center. So they're going to help with all those processes of getting through. All right, next slide, please. Sorry, 1 second here. Eligibility with the vet centers, we're a little bit different than the VA medical centers. We basically were set up in 1979 as a way to help veterans access the VA that may not have trusted the way, going into it. So anyone that's come from a combat zone or an area of hostility, Vietnam vets, OAF, OEF, Bosnia, any combat zone veteran is eligible. And that could be anyone that served anywhere within that combat zone. It doesn't have to be actively, in combat shooting or, being shot at. It could be just, being in the war zone itself as an eligibility. Any military sexual trauma, as I said before, if you've witnessed an assault, been part of an assault, part of a rape, any sexual trauma that you feel that you've been a part of, you're able to go to a vet center and we will be able to help you, and that's an indefinite amount of time that you can come to a vet center to work on those traumas. Provided emergency or direct mortuary services. So anyone that's dealt with combat KIAs, mortuary services, processing mortuary services, that anyone that's dealt with that can go to a vet center to deal with that part of it, grief or bereavement. That's all part of eligibility. Serve as a member of unmanned aerial vehicle crew. That could be anybody on the crew, whether it be someone loading the bombs, whether it's someone that's actually watching those drones in the air and watching what's happening on the ground, or someone that's involved in the planning and logistics of it. Anyone involved in the unmanned aerial crews. That can be a very difficult and challenging job, as some of those folks are going to a drill weekend and they're actively in a war zone over the weekend working on their drone, and then the next day they're going home to their families. So that's a service that the vet center is able to provide. Vietnam era veterans who have accessed care at the vet center prior to January 2013. Now, just to specify this, any Vietnam veteran that's ever served in Vietnam is able to go to a vet center for life. There's no limit on our help there. But this is for veterans that were not actually in the combat zone that accessed care at a vet center prior to 2014 are still eligible to go to a vet center and get care at the vet center. Thank you. Mobile vet centers. Mobile vet centers, we have 80 vet centers, mobile vet centers across the country. And these are large vehicles that we basically go around the country and we help veterans in rural communities. We go to disaster zones, so if hurricanes or tornadoes, any kind of natural disaster, we roll into the communities and we help veterans with accessing their benefits, helping them process through whatever they're going through. It could be, you just lost your home and now you have to get through all that. We have counselors and veteran outreach people that go to those locations and then help them get through that disaster. We also use these mobile vet centers so that if you go into a rural community where there's not a lot of services, we can go set up in the parking lot of a Walmart and connect directly to the VA network with our satellites and get someone help, whether it's helping with benefits stuff or doing direct counseling. That's what we use those MVCs for. We also have another call center that you can call besides the the suicide hotline, we have the 1-877 War Vets number. And this is a call center that's womaned by combat veterans and family members of veterans. So they're there to help people through their crisis, or maybe they're dealing with some depression, or they want to talk to another combat vet and they feel that they can't talk to someone else. These are veterans that are used to understanding the unique issues that combat veterans go through. So this is another resource, another call center. If you're thinking about suicide, or if you're thinking about, just being depressed or just need someone to talk to, this is the number you can call. If you just have a general question about the vet centers, you can call the 1-877 War Vets, or you just need some resource information. These people will help you. Vet center services. The vet center services are free of cost and are strictly confidential. We're fortunate to be set up with Congress the way the laws were written for the vet centers. There's no insurance involvement. You don't have to have a diagnosis of mental illness. You can go to a vet center free of cost. You just have to say, hey, I need someone to talk to. I've been in a combat zone, or dealing with military sexual trauma, or I'm on a drone crew, and the vet centers will help you. That's what our mission is. Most of the vet centers have veterans on the staff, predominantly veterans. So it's about 80% of vet centers are staffed by veterans. So they're geared towards helping veterans transition, and whatever that could be. Walk-ins and same-day appointments are always available at the vet centers. The 3 vet centers in Minnesota, Duluth, Brooklyn Park, and St. Paul, like I said, those walk-in times are 0800 to 1630. We do have appointments available at some locations after hours. If there's a need for that, we can work that out with the counselors. But yeah, you can always walk into a vet center. You do not have to have a prior appointment to walk in. And that's why there's always going to be someone staffed at the vet center to help you out. It is best if you make an appointment if you're not an emergency, but you can always come to a vet center. It's the point of the place. Eligibility, again, was the combat locations. Any combat location, any Iraq, Afghanistan. You do not have to be in the front lines, fighting the war. You could be in the rear and be in a combat zone, and still you are eligible for the vet center services. Anyone that's military sexual trauma, whether you witnessed it, whether you're involved with it, you're eligible for the vet center. Bereavement for family members, bereavement, whether you lost a battle buddy, you can come to a vet center, and that's all available for you. Again, my name is Scott Braden. I'm with the Outreach Program Specialist. Our director here, new on board, is Judith Huerta, and she is available to be contacted at the vet center number. Again, those numbers, if you want to go back to that, you can just. Thank you. Yep. So if you want to call any of these numbers, if you're closer to Duluth, closer to St. Paul or Brooklyn Park, you can call any one of them. We'll give you a hand. Go to one of the staff members. We'll help you directly. We don't go through an eligibility process. You do that once we get to the vet center. So again, you can walk right in. You can make a same-day appointment if you are in need, or we can get you set up for a future appointment. Any questions?
Good afternoon and welcome to the virtual Veterans Resources Fair. You're currently in the financial services presentation, where we have members from different organizations that provide financial assistance to Minnesota veterans throughout the state of Minnesota. Before we get started with introductions and the presentations, I'll cover a few items for our participants. Participants should be able to see the slides and hear our voices, but you are not able to talk or be seen. Presenters can only see how many people are watching the presentation. We cannot see or hear you. The question and answer section is open, and it's available for you to ask questions and interact with us. Your questions are only seen by the presenters, and you do not have to identify yourself when asking a question. If you have a comment or a question that you want to put in the chat that you do want published for the rest to see, you can say so, and we will publish it. If it's a great question that we are going to provide an answer to, we'll publish the answer as well. Again, the comment, you can put your name in there if you wish to, you do not have to. Now today, you're going to hear from Dan Tingwell, representing the County Veteran Service Officers. Dan is a veteran himself, and he will tell you about the services available in any county in Minnesota. After that, you're going to hear from Nadine Gall from Lutheran Social Services, who will cover financial counseling services available to veterans. And I will be presenting a slide deck from Nancy Urbanski, representing Minnesota Housing, who provides services to any Minnesotan who meet their criteria for income. So if you are joining today's fair and you're not a veteran, or you don't meet state federal guidelines of a veteran, their services are available to anyone in this presentation. Lastly, I will speak about the Minnesota Assistance Council for Veterans, MACV, and what financial assistance we can help with. My name is John Lowald. I'm an Army veteran, and I'm the moderator for today's presentation. At any time during the presentation, if you see a service that you are in need of, or you want to be put in contact with, again, you can use the question and answer. You can put your name, a number, and an email, and somebody from our organization, one of these organizations, will reach out to you to try to connect you with a service. Again, that will not be published, and only the moderators can see if a question goes in with a name and an address. Also, copies of all the slide presentations today from all the rooms are going to be emailed to everybody who registered for today's events. You will see copies as early as next week, so they won't go out yet today, but you will see them as early as next week. So anytime you see a hyperlink, a phone number, and you feel like you didn't get that, or you didn't write it down, not to worry, you are going to be provided with all these slide decks, and or just you could throw a question in and say, what was that website again, or what was that phone number again, and we're happy to put it back into the question and answer back to you so that it's available to you. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Dan Tingwell. Go ahead, Dan.
Thanks, John. Yeah, so everybody, I'm here to talk briefly about some state financial assistance benefits for veterans. I'll start probably with the biggest one and most useful, and that's going to be the State Soldiers Assistance Program, or SSAP, Special Needs Grant. Now, this grant comes from the Department of Veterans Affairs of the state of Minnesota, but you work with a county veteran service officer to apply for it. This is a one-time grant for veterans who are Minnesota residents, and it's based on need. Now, when I say one time, of course, there's an exception to the rule right now. Right now, there are two types of COVID-19 based grant requests, and those are being accepted as well. Work with your county veteran service officer on these if you have been financially affected by COVID-19, or possibly your spouse or someone in your family has, that's your dependent. So I'll say that one more time. COVID-19 grants of $1,000 and $3,000 are available through applying to the state of Minnesota with your county veteran service officer, and they do not apply toward your one-time use of a special needs grant. Now, in any other regular year where COVID isn't present, the special needs grant, like I said, is a great benefit. It covers things like house payments, rent payments, car payments, insurance, utilities, and many other types of bills that might come in that you're unable to pay for and keep you from being sustainable. So an example of a good SSAP special needs grant would be if a bus driver who is a military veteran, she needs to get to work, but her privately owned vehicle engine breaks down. That's a big expense, and it will prevent her from making income and staying afloat or staying sustainable. And so she'll want to visit her county veteran service officer and bring in the requested information like bills, records, etc., to work together to put a packet and send that to the Department of Veterans Affairs of the state of Minnesota. An example of a poor special needs grant would be if someone incurred a cost for, let's say, moving, and it was like about a $500 bill for, let's say, storage or something for a couple weeks or a month. That would be a poor use of the special needs grant because it's such a low amount of $500. When I say low amount, I mean that many special needs grants are over $1,000 all the way up to maybe like $5,000. And they should be used for situations where you're really in need. Because once you use that grant, it goes away and you don't get another one. Other benefits out there available for veterans in the state of Minnesota include dental and optical benefits. And you qualify for those based on your income and asset levels. So if you're interested in those, talk to your county veteran service officer. And subsistence, which is a benefit that doesn't really get talked about that much. Let's say you're at a job and as a construction worker and you injure your foot, whether due to service or not from service. If that keeps you out of work for a temporary amount of time, you can work with your county veteran service officer to apply for subsistence benefits through the state of Minnesota Department of Veterans Affairs, and that will hopefully give you help during your time of convalescence. There are also a lot of other nonprofit funds out there from local organizations, and so you're going to want to talk to your county veteran service officer about what's available in your area for your specific situation. So finally, you've heard me say CVSO or county veteran service officer numerous times during this brief presentation. And what I would say is if you're not familiar with your county veteran service officer, there's one in every county in the state of Minnesota. So please visit macvso.org and you can find who's close to you. You can find all their contact information and everything like that and how to get a hold of them. If there are no other questions, John, I'm going to hand it over to Nadine from Lutheran Social Services.
Yes, yeah, I'm not seeing any questions. So Nadine, you can go ahead and bring up your slide deck.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I just want to take a minute here. Oh, sorry, I'm on the wrong slide. Lutheran Social Services.
We're not seeing your, you know what, let me stop sharing our slides. Can you
can you not see me? Yep,
no, we're not seeing your slides yet.
Okay. It did ask me about that, so here, try this again.
Just when I see them, usually I can see them come up here and I can help move them over. You're hitting the share button. There we go.
Did that work? Okay.
Yep, it sure did.
All right, thank you.
You just got to put it in presentation mode. Yep, perfect.
All right, so again, welcome everyone. LSS Financial Counseling, we provide one-on-one guidance with individuals looking to answer any variety of questions about your finances. Everything is individualized. We cover things like your budget and debt counseling, how to make things work if you don't have enough money, how to best utilize the money that you have. Repaying student loans, is the payment plan that you have the best one, or is there a better option for you? Debt management plans, where we can help sometimes lower interest rates or payments on debts and get them paid off within 5 years. Those are for credit cards and unsecured loans, things like that. We also can do a credit report review if you have any questions about your credit report or how to improve your score, or if how things are reporting or just how they work, we can help with that. We also provide housing services for homeownership. Before you purchase a home, figuring out how that works. Reverse mortgage for people over 60 who are looking to maybe try to get money back out of their house. Foreclosure prevention if you're trying to keep your house and are on the verge of foreclosure, as well as some community financial education. Everything is free when you do financial counseling with LSS. We'll get your credit report, score and analysis, and help you figure things out for free. We do have a special program for veterans who have the DD 214 and have been discharged, honorable discharges. You can apply for special services. We offer even more to you and your family as well. We do provide services to people who are not veterans. Anybody in Minnesota can get services from us, active family, friends, things like that. The number, if you are interested in calling, you can also visit our website. The number for the core program is 844-LSS-CORE or 844-577-2673. It's helpful to have your DD-214 when you call because they will need to have that. And again, there's no charge for that. In addition to financial counseling, you can receive behavioral health counseling, that we have a homelessness initiative, wellness programs and support, case management, and respite for caregivers in the family. So a variety of services that I won't go through all of them, but recovery supports, mental health supports, PTSD support, and all things like that. If you are interested and are in the VA CORE program, again, the phone number is 844-577-2673. If you are not interested in the CORE program, but you do still want some help with your finances, it's 888-577-2227. And again, our website, lssfinancialcounseling.org, has all of the information there. And we are on Facebook as well at LSS Financial Counseling. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Nadine. And just bring up the next slide deck quick. Okay. All right, next up is Minnesota Assistance Council for Veterans, or MACV. MACV is an organization, has been around for 30 years. And what we do is provide 3 pillars of assistance. We provide housing assistance, employment assistance, and legal assistance, known as our vet law team. How we provide it is by following the guiding principles of trying to offer assistance to every veteran that is that has recently been laid off, or is chronically homeless, or is at risk of becoming homeless, by providing financial assistance, extensive services, and linking the veteran to all the other services that are available that MACV might not be providing ourselves. So what could a veteran get financial assistance with from MACV? Well, according to our guiding principles, MACV provides financial assistance when needed to aid in gaining or maintaining housing stability. And that could look like rental assistance, initial tenancy fees, move-in fees, damage deposits, first month's rent. We also been able to assist with food and housing supplies, utility assistance, mortgage assistance, as well as transportation assistance. We mentioned, how do we provide that financial assistance? We know at MACV that just providing money does not make a problem go away. Usually there are underlying issues that led to the crisis where that also need to be addressed. So we provide extensive service through our case management team and the 3 pillars that MACV provides. We help veterans deal with tenancy barriers. We might negotiate a veteran to move into a rental unit where they previously had things on their record where that landlord might not have previously accepted those types of barriers, but they will, knowing that the veteran is moving into the unit and they're also moving in with case management from MACV. We also have, MACV has transitional housing located throughout the state where we're able to assist homeless veterans, get them stabilized. It's very hard to try to get a job if you are currently homeless and living out of a car, or maintain a job. So we can provide transitional housing that MACV owns. We also have permanent supportive housing in various places throughout the state as well. And as I mentioned before, we then start working on some of the other issues. Somebody is unemployed, we can work on resume development, or underemployed and get them to a better job. We do interview training, we do resume development, and we do networking. There are a number of great Minnesota companies that are always looking to hire more veterans. And lastly, through their legal program, we may be able to help with document drafting and review of what you are working through. And we also can provide direct representation at sometimes, and also connect you with pro bono services. The extensive service, previously it was mentioned, are prioritized based on need and urgency. MACV and mission includes all veterans experiencing or at risk of homelessness. Different funds and different programs, however, have different eligibility guidelines based upon character of discharge, length of service, active versus reserve status. If you've been a veteran or been talking with people, and some individuals are veterans and don't believe they're veterans because they didn't see combat. So know that if you served, you can reach out to MACV and we can try to provide services. Our case management and connections to the other services are key to resolving issues. No one thing will fix a problem. There's always going to be other things involved to do it besides financial assistance. So I mentioned the referrals and support. So some situations are beyond the reach of our services, but only require a brief assistance or support from navigating from all the other services in the state of Minnesota. We work very closely with the Department of Veterans Affairs and the Minnesota Department of Veterans Affairs, the VA, other partner organizations that work with veterans, and partner organizations that just serve Minnesotans in general. We also work with reentry coordination for veterans coming out of incarceration. Receiving veterans income benefits, we will assist working hand in hand with the CVSOs to try to get veterans claims resolved, and we will have job fair coordination, such as the employment room that is going on also today. We do referrals to job recruiters and companies specifically looking for veterans. We also have referrals for legal aid, referrals to pro bono lawyers, and legal information and advice. I would say that while our legal team resides in the metro space, they have a network of lawyers located throughout the state who we are able to do legal clinics with and or make referrals for services. All right, this is MACV's contact information. You can reach us at www.mac-v.org, or you can call us at 833-222-6228 or 833-222-MACV. If you saw one of the services today and you would like one of us to contact you, again, you can put your name and how you'd like to be contacted in the question and answer, and nobody will see that, and we will have somebody reach out to you within the next 24 hours. If there are no questions for me, at this point in time, I'm going to move directly into a Minnesota housing slide deck. Their individual was not able to join us today, but I do have their slides. And again, all slides will be provided to everybody who registered for today's events. So the mission of Minnesota Housing is the foundation of success, collaborate with individuals, communities, and partners to create and preserve, finance affordable housing. Their FHPAP program is Family Homeless Prevention and Assistance Program. It's very similar to MACV. So why are we showing you this information today? Well, because again, we said we work with many different organizations, and there might be times when an individual can't be assisted through MACV, but they can be assisted through FHPAP just based on their eligibility of being a Minnesotan. So what do they need to do to be eligible? If household income must be at or below 200% of the federal poverty guidelines, that's based on county that you reside in. Minnesota resident or a household otherwise approved by Minnesota Housing, be homeless or at imminent risk of homeless and need services or financial assistance due to a housing crisis. Many individuals currently are not able to pay their rent, and there is a moratorium on evictions right now. This is true. However, at some point, that back rent is going to be due. And it would behoove anybody who is in that situation to not wait until that time before they reach out to Minnesota Housing or MACV or your CVSO and ask for that help. Minnesota Housing does not provide funding directly to the households. It goes to where the landlord or wherever the money needs to go to provide the assistance. If you're homeless, individuals go through their coordinated entry system. To receive an assessment, this is the link for coordinated entry. Households can locate an FHPAP provider in their area by visiting Minnesota Housing's website, provided this isn't right here. And like many of the other organizations currently, there are new funding streams that are available to organizations to assist due to the COVID housing or the COVID pandemic. So they have a COVID program, COVID housing assistance program called CHAP. You must be a Minnesota resident and you must have an income at or below 300% of the federal poverty guidelines. Preference is given to households who are at or below 200%. For homeowners, must have an income at or below 300% of income and be unable to make the payments because public health emergency due to unemployment, illness, or other COVID-19 related issue. Housing expense payments, this is what they can use this fund for: rent payments, mortgage payments, contract for deed payments, manufactured home parking lots, manufactured home payments, utility payments, association fees, homeowners insurance, and additional housing related costs approved by Minnesota Housing. In general, property tax payments would not be eligible for the funds. Exceptions may be made in cases of foreclosure prevention. So there's a wide variety or a wide range of things that the funding can be used for. Households cannot currently apply. The opening date to apply for CHAP is August 10th, 2020. However, they're already putting the program together, and you've seen all the guidelines. And I would just like to reiterate that to be proactive and get ahead of it, and be ready and know about this date today is much better than to find out about it in September when you're in a different housing crisis. So whether it's CHAP or it's MACV or it's Lutheran Social Services or your CVSO, if you're at risk right now and needing financial assistance, it's a great time to be proactive and reach out to any one of our organizations so that we can try to start assisting you before you enter a housing crisis.
Well, my name is Nathaniel Saltz. I'm the program director with Minnesota Assistance Council for Veterans. On the presentation with me today is Lindsay Hoffer with the Minnesota Department of Veterans Affairs and Larissa Bride from the Minneapolis VA Community Resource and Referral Center. We all know that with what's happening with the financial situations today, with unemployment benefits setting to end, housing and homelessness is a big concern for many people right now in Minnesota, including many veterans. And so we're giving an overview today of services that are going to be available for veterans, that are available for veterans that are experiencing homelessness. We'll talk a little bit about better services available for the prevention of homelessness. There's more on that in the financial services room about the types of rental assistance and support for maintaining your home. So if that's something that you're interested in, that will be available also at the next session. There is a Q&A function. Any questions that are published are private. If it's something that's a more general question, we will ask if that's all right for us to ask publicly and answer that at the end. If it's something that you're looking for guidance on a situation that you're experiencing, please know that this question is going to be answered by one of the staff from the agencies presenting and is not going to be shared or public to anybody else who's attending this event as well. So now I'm going to try my technology and attempt to start my PowerPoint. It's an exciting moment for all of us. Just a moment here. Okay, I'm going to assume that this is working. If not, please just pop in and say that this is not working, and we'll figure it out. So again, I'm with Minnesota Assistance Council for Veterans. We're a statewide nonprofit with the mission of ending veteran homelessness in Minnesota. So the services that I'm going to be talking about, some are more regional specific, but we do serve veterans across the entire state with most of the services that I'm mentioning now. And what we do is housing, employment, and legal services. And that is how we address the issues that are leading to episodes of homelessness or causing a veteran to remain in that situation. There's our staff from our team in the employment and the legal sections today at the virtual Veterans Resource Fair as well. So if you're interested in those topics, please join on to those in the next sessions, and there will be great information. With housing, our systems focus on 3 areas that we can provide assistance in. The first is rapid rehousing, and this is for veterans and their families seeking your own rental housing, but require some supports and assistance to get in. So that could be first month's rent, security deposit, application fees, assistance.
Nathaniel?
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but it's still showing the introduction slide. I don't think your presentation has loaded yet.
Ah, that's not terrific. Hold on.
I'm seeing it now. Are attendees seeing the correct PowerPoint?
I can't see the chat when it's up, so if you see a response, please let me know and I'll stop if there's still technical issues. So I was mentioning the rapid rehousing assistance. So veterans that are experiencing homelessness, looking for your own unit, requiring assistance with first month rent, security deposit, application fees, perhaps it could be moving costs, assistance in finding an apartment that's going to meet your needs and work with whatever those barriers that are going to come up on any sort of background check that landlords will run. Really, this is one of our big focuses is how we can get people quickly into housing that are experiencing homelessness today. And then connection and case management, connection to other community resources that are going to help stabilize you into housing once that housing has been located. We also have transitional housing options, which are up to 2 years. These options are in the Twin Cities metro area, Duluth and Hibbing, and then more permanent supportive housing, which is a long-term housing program that has on-site supports. And we have permanent supportive housing in the Duluth area and in Mankato. But just a brief overview of the employment. We work with developing resumes, interview skills, job training, networking, connecting up veterans that are working with us that are experiencing homelessness or at risk of homelessness with employment opportunities and through our network of employers. And then legal services. We have legal clinics when it's not COVID time that happen throughout the state, but we have a phone number that's always available for veterans to call in with legal issues. And if there's a legal situation that directly impacts that housing stability or homelessness, we do have some capacity to do full representation. So a little bit more about our housing assistance. We can do monthly rental assistance, those initial tenancy fees I talked about, security deposit, first month's rent, food if needed to stabilize, landlord navigation. We have relationships with landlords that we can work with you to get into a unit, assistance with utilities, and right now, particularly as we're experiencing COVID, and there's definitely challenges with being in congregate shelters or unsheltered homelessness and the safety of that. We're working with more and more veterans for a safe stay in a hotel so that we can work on the housing plan. Now come the little houses. I was wondering where they went. And so the extensive services that we offer really fall under the 3 pillars that we have of housing, employment, and legal, transitional and permanent housing, tenancy barriers, landlord navigation, resume development, interview training, and then the legal, the representation and the document drafting and negotiations. So between these 3 general areas that we work with housing, employment, and legal, MACV is available statewide to work with veterans experiencing homelessness or experiencing a crisis that could lead to an episode of homelessness. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Mark. My name is Angela Sherburne, and I am the program manager for the vocational rehabilitation program through the Veterans Health Administration. So that means we are located at the hospitals, and these programs I'm going to talk about are available at every VA hospital throughout the nation. So if you're statewide, this would apply at the St. Cloud Hospital, and we also serve our outpatient clinics via telephone and video. And actually, right now, as you can imagine, due to COVID, all of our services are offered over the phone or video until we're allowed to resume face-to-face visits. So what we offer is these services for veterans that are eligible for VA healthcare. So you do have to be getting your care at our hospital. You have to establish yourself as a patient, and then you have one of your providers enter a consult. I'll talk about that in just a minute. So as the slide says, we do a wide array of services. We have just general vocational assistance if you just need help navigating how to find a job, need some resume updates. Maybe you want to go back to school and you're not sure which benefits you're available for. We could just provide some general, 1 to, how many ever sessions that you would need help with that. We can have our psychologists do some interest testing with you if you don't know exactly what you want to do and kind of want to know where your strengths are. We offer that. We can do some general counseling over careers. And we have some more intensive services where we can meet with you out in the community once that resumes again and help you with job placements, actually going out to those employers, finding those jobs, and then supporting you on those jobs while you're there. We have our transitional work program where you're offered a temporary job at the hospital. This program is on pause right now due to COVID. We're hoping to resume in a couple of months where we give you a job here to build up your resume, have you relearn those important work habit skills, and then help you with the job search. And all of our programs, the goal is for competitive employment. We want to see veterans going back to work. And I mentioned going back to school as well. We do not provide the financial benefits. The VBA will talk about that next after me, actually, but we can provide that support to help you navigate in the long-term support that you may need to stay in school. So like I mentioned, you do have to be at the hospital to get your primary care provider or your mental health provider to submit what's called a consult for vocational rehabilitation. That will come to me, and then we will schedule you with one of our clinicians. So I know we only have 30 minutes, so my contact information is there, and I will pass it on to the VBA.
Hello, my name is Charles Curtis. I'm an employment coordinator with the Department of Veterans Affairs Vocational Readiness and Veterans Readiness and Employment Program. Also online is my colleague, Ms. Diana Berberick. She's also an employment coordinator. Our program is recently undergone a name change. We used to be referred to as the Vocational Rehabilitation and Employment Program, also known as the Chapter 31 program, because that's where it's found in the U.S. Code of Laws. But it's now referred to as the Veteran Readiness and Employment Program. We're a program for veterans with service-connected disabilities. If you have service-connected disabilities and those are affecting your ability to find or maintain a job, you're probably going to be entitled to services under our program. Now, we can't offer our services forever. There is a basic period of eligibility, and it's 12 years from the date you were found disabled or the date that you were discharged from the military, whichever came later. So also, if your disabilities are causing a serious employment handicap, we can waive that basic period of eligibility. So if you're unsure of whether or not you're within that 12-year period and you want help, you really should apply. The next slide, please. As we're waiting for the next slide, oh, here we go. Who's entitled to receive our services? If a person is still on active duty and they are going through the disability evaluation system, they are eligible to receive our services. If they receive what's called a memorandum rating, which means if they're in the process of getting a disability rating, and we know that rating is going to be at least 20%, we can work with those veterans too. And also these veterans have to be expecting an honorable discharge or a discharge under honorable conditions. Pretty much anything other than a dishonorable discharge. Veterans who are coming to us from a medical discharge are found automatically entitled. And again, if you have a disability rating, if your rating is 20% or more, we just need to see that there's evidence of an employment handicap. And if your rating is just 10%, then there needs to be evidence that that condition is causing or contributing to a serious employment handicap. And again, this essentially means that your disabilities are affecting your ability to find and keep a job. How do you apply? The best way to apply is through e-benefits. That's our electronic gateway to benefits information. It is very much the best way to apply because we get those applications almost instantaneously, and usually everything is there that we need to move forward. If you, excuse me, if you can't use e-benefits or don't want to use e-benefits, you can submit a paper application through your county Veterans Service office. They can help you fill that out and then fax it over to us. It's a one-page form. It's very easy to do. And I think that's about it. I'm going to pass that on to our next presenter, which I believe is Career Force.
Welcome all, this is Mark Mann once again. I'm going to be talking about the Career Force. We have about 50 locations throughout the state. We have leavers and DevOps in both of them, and I'll explain leavers and DevOps in a minute. But if you go to the Career Force, or just log into the Career Force and register, they have interviewing skills, resume strategies, networking, how to interview with confidence, strategies for writing resumes to help land those jobs. You can learn more online at Career Force. I'm going to have you go to the next slide. So there's two types of employment reps for veterans. This Disabled Veteran Outreach Program rep. This one, you can go on to Career Force and fill out the questionnaire to see if you qualify to see a DevOps. And right now everything's virtual, so they'd be talking to you through emails and Skype and that kind of stuff. But they do intensive services. Anything that has a barrier to your employment, they can help you with. They would meet with you one-on-one, do assessments, and give you that support you need for landing that next job. I'm going to have you go on to the next slide. And leavers, that's what I am. It's a local veterans employment rep. We do employer outreach. We help coordinate between the employer and the veteran that's unemployed. Now, this, I think of it as a salesman job, and I have the best possible product. I have veterans. And if you need any help in getting those jobs, please reach out to us. And we do workshops, we do recruitment, we can find you trainings. Just reach out to us. And I'm going to go on to the next slide. So if you're recently unemployed, you can go to uimn.org and sign up for unemployment insurance. Their customer service line is right there. And I'm going to hand it off to MacB.
Mark, do you want to take this one? I'm not sure MacB's on yet.
Okay. I don't know where MacB is. So their mission is ending veterans homelessness in Minnesota. Every veteran in Minnesota has access to services and support to avoid homelessness and achieve sustainable housing. We work very close with MacB. We help a lot of the vets get jobs, and MACV is a great place for any homeless vet to get to. They I'm going to read it. They're a nonprofit that has been serving veterans and their families who are homeless or at risk of becoming homeless across the state of Minnesota for 30 years. Their mission is to end veterans' homelessness by providing housing, employment, and legal services. We accomplish our mission by providing these services directly and in collaboration with community partners. Do they have another slide? So they have employment coordinators that provide additional assistance by forging strong relationships with employers throughout the community. And like I said, we work hand in hand with MACV, Career Force does, and we share all of our employment openings. We help refer the veterans to the positions, and we try and get them up and going. Does anybody else have anything to say about MACV right now? So eligibility. Oh no, this is MDVA. This is Dave.
Perfect. Thanks, Mark. Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining our presentation today. As we want to just continue to remind you, if you have questions, please post those over in the chat session, and we'll certainly jump on those as quickly as possible. My name is Dave Belfi. I'm the Director of Education and Employment for the state Minnesota Department of Veterans Affairs. And I'd like to talk about one of the benefits that many veterans are not aware of, and how it's connected to your employment. All veterans in Minnesota are eligible for $10,000 in state GI Bill benefits. And I just want to repeat that. Everyone out there who's a veteran listening now, you have $10,000 in state GI Bill benefits. You can use those in one of three areas. You can go back to college and utilize it while in an approved program that's leading towards maybe a certificate, a diploma, an associate degree, a bachelor's degree, master's, or all the way up through PhD or JD. So you can use up to $3,000 per fiscal year while you're at an institute of higher learning, and you may want to or may need to go back to higher ed to either kind of retool yourself, so to speak, come up with a new certification, maybe finish a bachelor's or finish a second bachelor's or move on to a master's program. So know that you have $10,000 in your back pocket. Another area you can use this is in an on-the-job training or apprenticeship program. Maybe you're looking at getting into the apprenticeships, any of the trades that are out there. You want to be an elevator service person, or maybe you want to be an electrician or plumber. You can use your Minnesota GI Bill and your federal GI Bill, by the way, while going through these training programs. We also have many other employers within the state of Minnesota, and Mark Mann works, as he mentioned, very closely with those employers. But many of our employers here in the state are approved for federal GI Bill and state GI Bill use while you're going through the training. So again, as you're seeking employment, you can ask your employer if they're an approved GI Bill organization, and if they're not, reach out to us and we'll certainly assist you with that. A third area that you can use it is in licensing and certification, and if I can get the next slide, please. In licensing and certifications, anything that is really required. So think of all of the licenses that are out there. If any of you are looking to be a nurse or law enforcement or IT or any of the trades, we'll reimburse you for all of those license and certification exams. and any of the preparatory courses or any residuals that are universal for everyone within that particular license or certification. So again, if you're looking at an employer and they require that you have a license or certification, just know you have the Minnesota GI Bill, again, $10,000 in your back pocket that you can use for this. If you need to get into college, maybe you want to become a lawyer, we'll reimburse for any of those LSAT exams or any of the graduate record examinations or any Institute of Higher Learning test for admissions. We'll reimburse for all of that. Again, any preparatory courses for any admission fees or admission exams, anything that's universal to that particular exam. And now keep in mind, this benefit is yours, but you may also have aunts, uncles, your mom, your father, sisters, brothers who are also veterans who have licenses that they have to renew. So please spread that word. The message is for you, but I want to make sure that all veterans in Minnesota understand that they have $10,000 in state GI Bill benefits. You do not have to have eligibility in federal GI Bill to use your state GI Bill. And the only age requirement is if you're in higher education. You cannot be more than 62 years of age to use your Minnesota GI Bill in higher ed, but in licensing and certification and in on-the-job training and apprenticeship, there is no age limitations. So one of the secrets that are out there that I don't like that it's a secret, spread the word, use it yourself. You can apply at gibill.mn.gov, and I'm going to put that in the chat session, and that's where you can apply. And again, you will have all of our contact information on the last slide. I will turn it back over to Mark Mann at this point.
Everyone, this is Janine Solberg. I'm from the Department of Veteran Affairs, the St. Paul Regional Office. And welcome everybody. This is our first time trying something like this. So we look forward to the event with you. We do have a PowerPoint to share with you, and we'll go through those slides. In the meantime, if you have questions, we have folks from the state offices, Veterans Affairs, and our CVSOs who can definitely address any of the questions that you have in our live Q&A boxes. At the end of this event, sometime in the middle of next week, there will be an email sent to you as attendees with all the presentation materials that we shared with you and all the other booths in the event that will be shared with you. If you have questions for me specifically on more of a federal level, maybe, if you could hold off on those till the end, we can address those. However, our folks from Minnesota Veterans Affairs are definitely able to, address those questions as well. So I think we'll get started on this, and we'll go with the next slide. So some things to understand about the department, U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs that can be confusing is it consists of 3 different pillars within the federal government. And we have the Veterans Benefits, the Veterans Health Administration, and the Cemetery. Today, we're going to talk about Veterans Benefits and the different areas in that on both federal, state, and your county levels. Next slide. So on this slide, we shared with your county veteran service officers websites. We also have tribal veteran service officers available in the state. And then, of course, our veteran service organizations, the national organizations like your VFW, American Legion, DAV, etc. This is the different websites that you can go to. We highly encourage, if you have questions in your community, it's so important for you to reach out to your county veteran service officer or any of the national veteran service organizations available in the community that you live. Next slide. So today, these are the different areas that we're just going to share with you. And this is under the Veterans Benefits Administration. All of these benefits can be accessed, or you have questions about them, with your County Veteran Service Officer. They can address any of these with you. Now, just so you know, there are other benefits that are available at a state level as well that you may be eligible for. That's definitely worth inquiring with them about also. And some of those, as VA benefits, you may be eligible for compensation, pension, survivors benefits, home loans, education and voc rehab, and life insurance. And we'll go through those briefly as we go along. Next slide. Compensation. This is the disability compensation side of the house, probably the area of most of our questions and most of our inquiries and our claims come for this type of benefit. What is service-connected compensation? It is a benefit that is paid for a disability that resulted from a disease or injury that occurred or it was aggravated while you were on active service. This disability does not have to be combat or wartime related. Listed there are a couple of examples that we see a lot of. Many ways you can file for compensation. Of course, there's the form that you can download. Providing your STR, service treatment records. The VA does have a mandate to order those for you. If you have copies of those, especially with our Guard and Reserve, especially when it comes to like LODs, line of duties, that's important to provide those as well. And just general information, your separation or retirement dates, your name, address, phone number, and an email address. Next slide. And compensation can be granted to you at a rate of 0% up to 100%. Now, compensation on a monetary is tax-free, and it is paid if you have a rating of a minimum of 10% up to 100%. However, what's really important for you to know, if you're granted and rated at 0%, this provides you treatment at the VA Medical Center free of no cost to you, but you can be treated for that condition at the VA. So 0% is definitely a benefit, especially when you speak of conditions like hearing loss. You're eligible for hearing aids, which are a significant out-of-pocket cost for others outside of the VA. Different levels, 30%, you get to add a benefit for your spouse and children 18 and under. At 50%, all your health care is free at the VA Medical Center. 70%, you can apply for what's called individual unemployability. And what that is you're unable to work due to a service-connected condition that is hindering you from working. And if you're granted that, then you're awarded the 100% rate. You're still 70%, but you may be paid at the 100% rate. Couple of other things at the 100% rate. In Minnesota, they do have a property tax rate at both 70% and 100%. There may be more available through vehicle registration, and this would be offered through your state benefits that you could definitely inquire with your CVSO or your veteran service from your state. The Department of Treasury does require direct deposit for any beneficiaries for your VA benefits. Next slide. Veterans pension at the St. Paul Regional Office, we do have a pension center. Pension is a needs-based benefit for wartime veterans with limited or no income. It's a monetary benefit that's tax-free. So the eligibility for this benefit is the veteran would have had to have served at least 1 day of wartime service. If they become totally and permanently disabled by a rating, age 65, Social Security disability, or a nursing home status. This disability that's important is not to be related to their service. And the most important thing about our pension program is it is an income limit. There is a net worth that you need to qualify for the benefit. And right now your net worth is set at approximately, cannot exceed the $127,000. Next slide. There's also another program called Special Monthly Pension. So you may be qualified for the pension, but in addition, you might need the aid and attendance of another person to care for you. So there is an aid and attendance benefit, and as well as a housebound benefit if you're confined to your home. A couple of other things to remember with pension: there are reporting requirements that you may be responsible for. If your income changes, net worth changes, the status of your dependents, and any other medical expenses that change need to be reported. Next slide. We also have survivors benefits. Survivors pension, again, a need-based program for income. For a spouse who's not married or children under 18 or 18 to 23 in school, or a helpless child, again, the income and net worth limits are required. We also have dependency indemnity compensation. This is paid to a survivor of a veteran who dies either due to a service-connected condition and or has the 100% service-connected evaluation that was in effect for 10+ years prior to their death. There's also accrued benefits that can be applied for monies that were entitled but unpaid at the time of the death, and they can be made payable to the surviving spouse or, again, children for VA purposes. It's a separate benefit. Next slide. Burial benefits, burial reimbursement for service connection at $2,000, and at non-service connected at $300 for funeral and burial expenses, $762 for a plot expense if it was a non-service connected benefit. The state and the national cemeteries all work very closely with the funeral homes. They do a really nice job in coordinating with the VA. Of course, national cemeteries are available to all veterans with anything other than a dishonorable and his or her dependents. What that means is the spouse of the veteran, or a helpless child, or a child under the age of 18. What's provided is the burial flag. There's memorial certificate, gravesite, opening and closing, and the assistance with military honors. Next slide. Home loan services. Again, at the St. Paul Regional Office, we also have the Home Loan Guarantee Program office available. One of the easier benefits to apply for. What it does is it helps service members, veterans, or eligible surviving spouses with a VA home loan through your private lender, such as your bank or your mortgage, who you choose to go with. It guarantees a portion of the loan, and again, enables the lender to provide you with more favorable terms. So basically, you find your lender, you want to make sure they know that you want to use your VA home loan benefit. Typically, they can pull your certificate of eligibility, find a home, and you can close the deal. Next slide. What the VA home loan, some of the eligibility, most importantly, you don't want to lose that DD-214, or if you're Reserve National Guard, what they'll be looking for is the NGB-22 that shows at least a minimum of the 6-year commitment, or if you've had a 90-day call-up on a Title 10 order. And sometimes they'll even accept something from the commanding officer. Perhaps they get back from a deployment and the 214 isn't available, or even an NGB 22. They can accept something from that commanding officer verifying their Title 10 time as well. Next slide. Education is huge. I know there's a booth within this event that covers education. There are a number of education programs at the state level, in the reserve, the guard, for active duty. We have the post 9/11 right now. Most importantly, it does not expire for those veterans who discharged after January of 2013. We also have what's called the Chapter 35 DEA benefit. These are for our 100% service-connected permanent and total veterans family members, as well as the surviving family members of those who died in service. Next slide. Again, the post 9/11 eligibility requirements, of course. One thing to note, most important, is that there is no expiration date of this benefit. Some things to note for our members who are still serving, whether Guard, Reserve, or active duty, is the transferability of your benefits. I won't go into all the details. There's a lot of programs available. Next slide. Voc Rehab, Vocational Rehabilitation and Employment. Again, there is also a booth available within this event that you can visit, get more details on this. Basically, for veterans who are eligible for this program on the federal level, have a discharge, again, that's anything other than a dishonorable, and you also have a service-connected disability rating or an IDES rating of at least 20% from the VA. Very simple to apply for this. You send in your form 0588 and they will set you up with a counselor, evaluate your situation. Voc Rehab is a program that assists veterans in transitioning to a different employment, or maybe the schooling to seek employment that does not exacerbate your service-connected conditions. If you're unable to work because of a knee injury and you can't work that job no more, they're going to assist you trying to find something that won't exacerbate that condition. Next slide. Life insurance, another really big program. One thing to note about our life insurance programs, either it be VGLI buy-ups or transferring SGLI to VGLI, things like that, all handled in our Philadelphia regional office. Listed there is a 1-800 number for this benefit. They have a very good customer service contact phone number, and as well as I listed the website for you to tap into that. Life insurance has so many different benefits available, especially if you become service connected. There's other life insurances available for disabled veterans as well. And it would be definitely worth your time to check out their website. Next slide, please. How do you access your benefits? A number of ways. As I said earlier on, you got your county veteran service officers, a wealth of information through our state folks, state veterans department. We also have what's called e-benefits. One nice thing about e-benefits, what's nice is our currently serving members in either Guard, Reserve, or active duty are all mandated to set up an e-benefits account. You can get a lot of information off your e-benefits, transferring that education, get that DD-214. You can apply for these benefits in e-benefits. You also can get that COE that we talked about under the Home Loan Guarantee Program. It can be available and printed out as well. You also can tap into the healthcare side of the house and, you know, check out your appointments and records for anything that you need to, just on the health side, prescriptions, reorders, things like that. But one place to definitely access those e-benefits is actually at your CVSO office. So again, I can't encourage you enough to tap into your CVSO office. Next slide. So the VA has a main website, va.gov. All of these benefits that we talked about is available on that website specifically. It goes into a lot more details. One site I could encourage you to try out is the education benefits site, because it takes you right into those, the GI Bill, and see what you qualified for and how much you qualified for. Again, everything on the va.gov side of the house. And the last slide. If you have any questions, again, go ahead, chat. Let us know if there's something that you specifically need information on. I believe you will be provided our contact information if you'd like to reach out to us. Other than that, thank you for joining the event.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Don Jackson. I'm an economic development specialist with the Small Business Administration here in Minnesota. With me today is Dan Newberry and Dr. Makiba Butler with our Veterans Business Outreach Center. They are located over in Wisconsin. We're going to go ahead and get started with our presentation here for veterans-owned small business programs and assistance. So we are honored to be here today. We will be doing a quick overview of the SBA programs and assistance. We believe that veterans make great entrepreneurs because they have been required to be disciplined and work as a team to accomplish a goal. And these skills are necessary for entrepreneurs to be successful. Veteran-owned firms represent a unique force within the American economy. Veterans own approximately 2.4 million small businesses, or about 9% of all small firms in the U.S. In addition, sorry about that, we had a little technical difficulty. Historically, about 1 in 6 veterans choose self-employment as their vocation, which is a significant percentage. Veteran entrepreneurs play an incredibly important role in the U.S. economy, and therefore special programs have been created to assist veteran-owned and service-disabled veteran-owned small businesses to start and grow. There are 3 primary areas that the SBA offers assistance to small businesses, and they are counseling, capital, and contracting. Within these 3 areas, there are specific programs to assist the veteran-owned and service-disabled veteran-owned businesses. Here on this screen, we'll talk about the different counseling and trainings that are available. As I stated, we do have Dr. Butler and Dan Newberry with our Veterans Business Outreach Center. We'll also be discussing the Boots to Business and Boots to Business Reboot program, and then the Service Disabled Veteran Entrepreneurship Training Program, the Veterans Women Ignite the Spirit Entrepreneurship Program, and the National Center for Veterans Institute for Procurement. So the first one we're going to be talking about is the Small Business Veterans Business Outreach Centers. There are 22 centers nationwide with full resource partners. They provide SBA resource navigation and referrals, and they are growth focused on high vet populations and installation density areas. So majority of our VBOCs are going to be located usually where there are bases such as California, Virginia, Kentucky, those places. The nearest VBOC for us is in the Wisconsin, Chicago area where the naval installation is. And that team is, again, Dr. Butler and Dan Newberry. One of the programs that we do is the Boots to Business. It is a program that is led with our VBOCs. They work with the district offices, myself and others, to have assistance for transition service managers at the military installations. During fiscal year 19, 952 Boots to Business courses were held at military installations and throughout the states. So we are getting the word out there to veterans about the programs that are available to them. So which resources are right for you? Well, the biggest one is the VBOC, and right here is our contact information for that. Again, it's going to be Dr. Makiba Butler. She is the director for the Wisconsin Women's Business Initiative Corporation's Veterans Business Outreach Center. They conduct counseling and transition assistance, training and advice on starting and growing your business or purchasing a new business, and they do resource referrals. Next is our Boots to Business, which is a two-step entrepreneurial training program. The first step is either a 1 or a 2-day classroom or online course that focuses on business basics. The second step is an 8-week online course that offers in-depth instruction on the elements of business plans and guidance about starting a business. Boots to Business and the Boots to Business Reboot are exactly the same except for the audience. Boots to Business is offered to current enlisted and officer military personnel that will be transitioning out of the military soon. The Boots to Business Reboot is offered to all era veterans, spouses, and their dependents at no cost. Again, since this program's inception in fiscal year 15, over 5,000 Boots to Business and Boots to Business Reboot classes have been held at military installations and other locations. Please note that the Boots to Business Reboot courses are conducted at various locations and online and are not exclusive to military installations. So the follow-on program for the Boots to Business is actually conducted through the Mississippi State University. So once you have completed the Introduction to Entrepreneurship, you will have the ability to sign up for this course, which is delivered through the partnership, but you must be able to complete the Entrepreneur Workshop, Boots to Business Reboot or Boots to Business First. The next here is our Service Disabled Veteran Entrepreneurship Training Program, and this provides business management and development training to post 9/11 veterans with disabilities and their family member. The aim of the program is to open the door to economic opportunity for our veterans by developing their competencies and the steps and activities associated with creating and sustaining an entrepreneurial venture. Here is a little bit more information concerning some of those programs. Again, we have the Entrepreneurial Bootcamp for Veterans with Disabilities, which is hosted by the Syracuse University's Institute for Veteran and Military Families. The next is the Veterans Entrepreneurship Program, which is through the Rita Center for Entrepreneurship at Oklahoma State University in Stillwater, Oklahoma. And then there's the Veterans Entrepreneurship Jumpstart Program through St. John's University in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And then the last one is the Dog Tag Inc., which is a nonprofit out of Washington, D.C. that assists small business owners with franchising opportunities. The VWise program also provides training entrepreneurship specifically for women veterans. VWise is also a 3-phase program, with the first phase being a 15-day online learning experience, with phase 2 being a conference phase that is a 3-day training offered to cohorts of 200 women at locations throughout the United States. And then phase 3 is the ability to keep moving. So following the conference, graduates are connected to ongoing support and community building opportunities focused on small business creation and growth. So we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the other programs here, including the IVMF VWise. The VWise program is an intensive 3-day program, again containing 15 days of online preparatory course. Another one is Bunker Labs, which is the called EPIC. Bunker Lab provides education, mentoring, and networking opportunities to help military veterans start and grow their businesses. EPIC is a 14-week training course offered by Bunker Labs where participants meet weekly while also having access to the online Bunker in a Box. This program at this time is being offered in Chicago, Philadelphia, Nashville, Austin, Minneapolis, New York, Jacksonville, Kansas City, Raleigh, and DC. Next is the Lift Fund, which is out of San Antonio, and this is a nonprofit organization that helps small business owners with limited access to capital. The Texas-based Women Venture Entrepreneurship Program is a 7-week course offering both in-person and online training and covers everything from technical assistance to capital requirements. The program serves the San Antonio, Dallas, and Houston areas, and they are looking to expand via online. Here we have the National Center Veteran Institute for Procurement, which is funded in part by the SBA and provides training for owners, principals, and C-level executives of veteran-owned businesses to increase their ability to win government contracts by establishing best business practices. VIP also provides training for veteran-owned businesses to enter or expand their federal and commercial contracting opportunities overseas. VIP is offered at no cost The VIP is offered at no cost to participant programs, and it varies in length from 1 to 3 days and is usually held in the Washington, D.C. area. So now we're going to talk about how the SBA provides financial assistance through its loan programs. The SBA will guarantee a percentage of a loan to the participating lender. The guarantee allows the lender to allow more flexible terms to the borrower. Of all the SBA guaranteed loans that go to veterans, 73% are $350,000 and below. The SBA Express Loan Program, which supports loans under $350,000, is an SBA's most popular loan delivery method, with nearly 60% of all 7A loans over the past decade. Since the program's inception, it has also been one of the most popular delivery methods for getting capital into the hands of veterans business owners. There are fee discounts for the SBA for veterans, where the upfront guarantee fee is waived by veterans up to $1 million until December 31st, 2020. Next, the SBA can help you with access to funding through a number of lending programs for various uses to meet your unique business needs at a stage in your business life cycle. That can range from anywhere from $500 to $5.5 million through SBA-backed loans that can be used for most business purposes, including long-term fixed assets, operating capital, and real estate. Some loan programs set restrictions on how you can use the funds, so check with an SBA-approved lender when requesting a loan. Your SBA lender can match you with the right loan for your business needs. So the 4 programs that the SBA have is our general small business loans, which we call the 7A. There's the microloan program, the 504 loan programs, and then the disaster loans. One of the things we want to let everybody know that the SBA does not lend money. The SBA provides a guarantee to the lender. Additionally, the SBA does not provide grants. For our general small business loans, which is 7A, the guarantee percentage ranges from 75 to 85%. For express loans, those are 50%, and export loans are 90%. The terms, which can be used for working capital and equipment, is 10 years, and real estate is 25 years. The guarantee fees are 2% on loans of $150,000 or less, and then 3% on $150,000 to $700,000, and then 3.5% on $700,000 to $1 million, plus a 3.75% on guaranteed portions over $1 million. Again, with the SBA Veterans Program, which is the same as the 7A, there's no fee on the SBA Express loan to the veterans. Again, one of the things here is we want to let everybody know back in the day there was a program called Patriot Express, which was a pilot initiative, and that has changed. So under the Veterans Advantage now, the SBA waives the upfront guarantee fees on the 7A loans up to $150,000 and all SBA Express loans that are under $350,000, although that has been temporarily increased to $1 million through December 31st of this year due to the COVID-19 situation. Veteran borrowers would apply for the same SBA Express and 7A loans as a non-veterans, so you just want to ensure the bank knows they are a vet or a spouse so they do not charge the fees. These are intended to facilitate lending to the veterans so they have the tools they need to start and grow their businesses. Some of the eligibility requirements is that the business must be owned by 51% or more by the veteran. The veteran can be either a veteran or a service disabled veteran, an active duty military service member who is transitioning out of the military, reservist or National Guard service members, again, current spouses of any veteran, active duty service member or reservist National Guard member, and a widowed spouse of a service member who died while in the service or from a service-connected disability. What we have now here is our military reservist economic energy disaster loan. The purpose is to provide funds to eligible small businesses to meet ordinary and necessary operating expenses that it could have met but is unable to meet because an essential employee was called up to active duty in their role as a military reservist. The program is intended only to provide the amount of working capital needed for the business to pay its necessary obligations as they mature until operations return to normal after the essential personnel is released from active duty. The purpose is not to cover lost income or lost profits and cannot be used to take the place of regular commercial debt, refinancing long-term debt, or expanding the business. Here is a little bit more information concerning the general small business loans, 7A. There is a variable maximum rate for loans less than 7 years. It is usually, and depending on the amount, it's going to be prime plus 4.25 for anything less than 25,000. And then from 25 to 50,000, it's prime plus 3.25. And then as you see, it goes up. So traditionally, most loans are at the range of over the $50,000 and are over 7 years. So you're going to look at prime plus 2.75%. The purpose of this here is our microloan program, and this is to assist women, low-income, veteran, and minority entrepreneurs and other small businesses in need of small amounts of financial assistance. Under the microloan program, SBA makes direct loans to intermediaries that in turn use the proceeds to make small loans to eligible micro borrowers. The SBA provides grant dollars to these microlenders to be used to assist micro borrowers and potential micro borrowers with marketing, management, and other business-based training and technical assistance. Here we have a list of all the microlenders in Minnesota. Here in the Twin Cities, we have the African Development Center, the Neighborhood Development Center, and Women Venture. And then in the greater statewide of Minnesota, we have the Entrepreneur Fund, Northwest Minnesota Foundation, the Southern Minnesota Foundation, and the Southwest Initiative Foundation. Our 504 program is designed to enable existing small businesses to create and retain jobs. A loan secured with a senior line on the financed asset may be by a private sector lender at 50%. Then a loan is secured with a junior lien made by a CDC funded 100% by an SBA guaranteed debenture at 40. And then at least 10% is contributed by the small business or some other non-federal source who would take a third collateral position. This program can be used to purchase existing buildings, street improvements, utilities, landscaping, major machinery, and equipment. There are a couple of 504 CDCs here in Minnesota that can provide assistance. They are the Central Minnesota Development Company, the Minnesota Business Finance Corporation, the Prairieland Economic Development Corporation, SPEDCO, the 504 Corporation, Twin Cities Metro CDC, and then the last one is the Wisconsin Business Development Finance Corporation. SBA financing, when a franchise is involved, this is a good opportunity right here. Franchising is a good opportunity for veterans because they have the ability to follow an SOP or guidelines set forth by a franchise. It is a good idea to take a look at some of these links that are attached here for tips and best practices. If you have any other further questions, you can always reach out to, again, the VBOC or some of our other programs. The third area that the SBA provides assistance is in contracting. So again, we have a couple of programs, which is the Service Disabled Veteran Owned Business Procurement Program, our 8A Business Development Program, our Hub Zone Program, Women Owned Small Business Program, and an All Small Mentor Protege Program. Under the Service Disabled Veteran Owned Business Procurement Program, a contracting officer may set aside a procurement for competition among service-disabled veteran-owned small businesses if there is a reasonable expectation that 2 or more responsible SDVOSBs will submit offers, and if the award can be made at fair market price. The 8A Business Development Program was established to help small disadvantaged businesses grow. Small disadvantaged businesses are those that are owned or controlled by persons that are presumed socially and economically disadvantaged. The 8A Business Development Program is a great way to grow a business and establish a foothold when contracting with various federal agencies. Our Hub Zone stands for Historically Underutilized Business Zones. The Hub Zone program was established to spur growth in economically distressed areas. If your small business is located in a Hub Zone and may be able to be certified and compete for contracts that are set aside for Hub Zone programs. And the Women-Owned Small Business Program is defined by several key tenets. The program applies only to contracts in designated industries. Only women-owned small businesses or economically disadvantaged women-owned small businesses are eligible. Competition is required for WSOB contract awards. And participating women-owned small businesses are required to self-certify or potentially use third-party certifiers. And then lastly, the purpose of the Mentor Protege Program is to develop strong small business protege firms through mentor-provided business development assistance and to help proteges successfully compete for government contracts. The United States government is one of the largest buyers of goods and services. And what this means for you is you have the opportunity to sell your goods and services to the government. Mainly challenges that are unique to the government and public sector that do not exist in private and commercial sector. Veteran-owned or service-disabled veteran-owned status does not guarantee that you'll receive work. You can also access the SBA Veteran-Owned Small Business website by going to sba.gov and typing in veteran in the search tool. That looks like a magnifying glass. So there's a lot of great opportunities to get information there. There are a few other resource partners that are available. Those are the Small Business Development Centers, SCORE, and the Women's Business Center. Now we've come to the end of our presentation. If we have any questions, we can start to answer them. Do we have any questions out there, Dan?
The chat box if you are unable to see or have any difficulties, but it looks wonderful to me, Rebecca.
All right, perfect. And so as a reminder, we have about a 30-minute window here. So I'll go ahead and speak, as Caroline shared, from the federal healthcare standpoint for about 15 minutes, and then Caroline is going to take over from the state side. So my kind of purpose here, the presentation purpose from my end, is just providing information for understanding your federal benefits, your healthcare benefits and services, and some resources that are available to you specifically through the VA. And so why is it important to know about your benefits and services? The biggest thing is we know that a lot of veterans don't access VA care or take advantage of their benefits. And, you know, they are there for you. You have rightfully earned them. And so we want to be able to help you access them as you desire. 62% of veterans we know have musculoskeletal concerns, so those achy body and pain concerns that are really valid concerns and can oftentimes get worse over time. So we want to make sure you're engaging in care for addressing those concerns. And then 42% of veterans have mental health concerns, so anxiety, depression, histories of trauma, which can be really complex. And VA offers, you know, very specific, veteran-specific care for those things. So we want you to be able to get connected if you want for mental health services. And then we know adjustment issues are common, especially after deployments and after separation from the military. So adjusting to civilian life is one of the biggest transitions that somebody really can have. And so we know that that can be a really complex time as well. So kind of engaging in care and getting support through the VA during that time is important. There are so many types of services through the VA, and it can get a little bit complicated. And the way we like to kind of just explain it generally is that the VA is a big umbrella, and then under that umbrella there's those three components: the health administration, so the hospital side for treating physical health concerns and mental health concerns, Then there's the VBA, the Benefits Administration, for kind of addressing comp and pen, you know, vocational rehab, education, home loan, that life insurance you see there. So that's the second part of the umbrella. And then the third part is a little bit separate, the National Cemetery Administration. So I'm sure we're all kind of familiar with fort selling. That's a big part of that. So that's the third component there. In terms of VA healthcare, you know, it's one of the largest, it is really the largest healthcare system in the country with over 1,700 medical centers and clinics. You know, it kind of, your care kind of follows you wherever you go. So if you end up moving to another state or another area, you know that your transfer of care is going to be hopefully a smooth one, because your care just kind of follows you no matter where you end up in the country. Your VA benefits meet the minimum standard for the Affordable Care Act. So while it's not an insurance, it meets that standard, which is useful. So you don't necessarily need to have another insurance as long as it is just you needing that coverage. Of course, you can still, like it says here, you can still opt into your employer's insurance or through the state insurance if you need it. If you are seeking care outside of the VA for whatever reason, that is perfectly fine. But it's also perfectly fine to have VA benefits, healthcare benefits only. The nice thing that the VA offers and your healthcare benefits offer is really small or no copays at all when it comes to medications and your visits, as well as inpatient stays oftentimes. So that can kind of vary depending on the individual, but that is something that, you know, VA is known for. One kind of big piece to healthcare benefits is this 5 years of free healthcare for combat veterans. So any veteran who has a combat history has free healthcare for combat related conditions for 5 years after the date of their post-deployment discharge. After the 5-year period, then treatment will continue, but then you may be responsible for those copays, those kind of lower copays as in comparison to kind of some of the other big healthcare systems. And again, that is a little bit more on a case-by-case basis. A little bit depending on your disability rating, if you have one, your service connection, your income. So there's a lot that kind of can play into whether or not you will see a copay after that 5-year period. Veterans may have a one-time special dental benefit if they request it within 180 days from their date of discharge. So it's important to know that, you know, dental is not necessarily a covered benefit through the VA unless you do meet this criteria for requesting it within 100 days of discharge, or if you're kind of service connected or have a disability rating related to your oral care, your health care. One thing to note is that the VA does offer a dental insurance that veterans can opt into. So that's usually pretty comparable to, you know, an employer plan. So that's something to note too. If you're not employed or you don't have dental insurance, you can always opt into the program that the VA offers. And then veterans can still be seen for any non-combat related or non-service related condition, like your common flu, colds, accidents, that kind of thing, that you might just be subject to copays for those visits. You also may not. So again, that's kind of on a case-by-case basis. VHA services, so healthcare services, kind of run the gamut, really holistic services, including primary care, your basic doctor visits, mental health care, specialty care, you know, that can run from anything along the lines of dermatology or ortho, traumatic brain injury, polytrauma, emergency care. There's the women's clinic, extended care and rehab. So hospice care, LGBT services. So again, really holistic care from, you know, the point of your separation from the service on into your later life. For VA Women Veterans Health Services, since 2000, the number of women veterans seeking VA healthcare has doubled, which is really great to see. And each center has a women veterans program manager. So kind of a point of contact for you as you're engaging in care that's specific to women's services. That care can also include, you know, the primary care, but also preventative health care, gynecology, maternity care. And then with mental health services, again, pretty thorough, robust mental health services specific to veterans. So focus on PTSD, addiction, recovery, higher levels of care for if there's needing to be some sort of inpatient hospitalization for mental health. Those things are all provided through the VA. And then there's the vet centers, which is also a really nice resource for veterans. They're here in Minnesota, you know, there's one in Brooklyn Park, and then there's one in New Brighton. They offer free services to veterans and family members. Oftentimes also kind of offer some supportive groups and outings, fishing, hunting, that kind of stuff, camping. So kind of a neat separate piece of the VA healthcare. This is a little bit of an overview on how to apply for VA healthcare. So typically what we recommend is you go through your county veteran service officer. But you can also follow this link, and you can also go through your eligibility desk at your local VA. So there's several options. Typically your best point of contact is going to be your CVSO, who will be able to kind of help start you along that road for filing claims and kind of pursuing that comp and pen process. And then I am the social worker with the Transition and Care Management Program. So our program is also always a really good contact for if you are beginning to apply for VA healthcare. Okay. So why is it important? We just want you to have your thorough care, the care that you deserve. Also, you know, VA is specific to being able to address exposures. So that's something really unique to VA that a lot of other healthcare systems don't address. It's kind of history of exposures to airborne hazards, burn pits, all that sort of stuff. So that was quick, but a little bit of an overview of healthcare. And like I said, we will go ahead and pop into Caroline's PowerPoint, and then we'll be able to answer some questions toward the end.
All right, I got to check to see if you guys can see my slides now.
Yes, I can. We can.
Perfect. So you heard about Rebecca, and you heard all the wonderful benefits that are available through the federal VA. So sometimes people get a little bit confused because in Minnesota, we actually have a Department of Veterans Affairs. And then to complicate things further, I'm one of those employees that used to work at the VA, but left the VA to come work at the state. And so just so you know, there are some particular nuances and particular areas of points of contact that you should go to, depending on the kind of care that you need. So you're going to notice that there's not a lot of duplication at all of what Rebecca presented. Rather, Minnesota tries to fill in the gaps and provide things that the federal VA isn't really equipped to do. So we will start. So our mission statement is really to serve Minnesota veterans, their dependents, and survivors by connecting them with the federal and state care and benefits they've earned. And that's really what this is all about today, is letting you know what that entails. So the Minnesota Department of Veterans Affairs is a cabinet-level state agency, and it serves the 308,000 veterans and their families in Minnesota. Just like Rebecca explained, there was the 3 divisions in the federal VA. The Minnesota VA also has programs and services. They have a central office and they have veterans health care. So programs and services are working with the homeless, education, benefits. We also have a cemetery program, which is really essential and kind of follows suit with the federal guidelines. Our central office is essential to all the work that we do, but I happen to work in veterans health care. I'm the clinical director and I'm a nurse by background. And it's a very good feeling to be able to belong to a healthcare system that really is so robust and really has such good care offered and a good reputation. So a little bit more about what we're going to talk about today. We have Minnesota Veterans Homes. In Minnesota, we have 5 state veterans homes. The first 4 offer skilled nursing care, so that'd be like a nursing home. Hastings is domiciliary care, and we're going to go over that a little bit more, but that's a different program where veterans come and live a little bit more independently. They can come and go a little bit more, but they're provided extra programming, extra support, and extra medical care as they stay with us. Many of our residents come to Hastings and they stay for a short while and then they go on to other settings. In many of our nursing homes, when people come to us, many times that is, again, their last stay. We don't do a lot of short-term nursing home care, so not a lot of broken hips and emergent admissions that come to us, and I'll explain that in a little bit more. So again, our whole system started in 1887 and really has kept evolving to meet the needs. And again, we're really interested in providing the care, meeting the individual needs of every resident that we serve. So services available. Again, the skilled nursing, which is like a nursing home. We are Medicare certified. So again, we do provide some skilled care as well as some routine care. It allows our residents to live as well as possible for as long as possible. That's really our goal. And we want them to be as healthy and as happy as possible. We want them to be as functional, be able to move around and participate in activities for as long as they possibly can. So we worked really hard to make certain that there are a variety of therapies and activities to take part in. I have to be honest that COVID-19 has been quite challenging for us in our nursing home settings. COVID-19 has really affected our residents in terms of visitors coming, in terms of them going out and participating in recreational events, and really in terms of our staffing. So our staff get screened every day as they come into work, temperature and a series of questions. All of our staff wear a mask as well as a face shield to protect themselves as well as the residents that they serve. The residents that we care for have their temperatures taken twice a day, and they're evaluated for any kind of symptoms that might make us suspect that they might have positive COVID. So if they do, we do the nasal swabs right at the nursing home, send those in and get them tested. Adult daycare is something that we really were pleased to have. And again, it was a day program where families could bring the veterans in for 4 to 6 hours. And some of the caregivers worked, some of the caregivers just needed a break. And this program allows those veterans to be cared for a short period of time so those caregivers can continue providing care for a longer period of time. Due to COVID-19, all of the adult day healthcare centers across the state of Minnesota were impacted. And the state has started to provide guidance as to how to open up these services again. But right now, our services involve a social worker and several of our other recreation and therapy staff going out on a bus and observing good physical distancing, but driving to the veterans' homes to visit with them and their caregivers and provide them extra support. As you can imagine, that is hard to do with a very large number of veterans, but again, they continue to try to provide those cares. The domiciliary care is again different because it's focused on mental health, sobriety, we have vocational rehab, and living skills. And so again, those are some of the things that are offered in the domiciliary setting. So coming with some pictures here, this is our Minnesota Veterans Home in Minneapolis. We have a large campus. It's got 300 skilled nursing beds, and you can't see the adult day healthcare program in this particular slide, but the adult day healthcare program is also on that campus, a little bit off the picture. And we are very, very pleased that many of the buildings are relatively new within the last 5 to 7 years. So that makes for a very updated environment. And again, we're very excited to be able to care for residents in a modern setting. You can see that we have a mixture of new and historic buildings. Our adult day healthcare center was built in a historic building and retrofitted for that. So again, we've got a lot of things going and really work hard to keep people busy each day. This is our Silver Bay State Veterans Home. And again, this is up in the northern part of the state. This is in a beautiful, beautiful area, not very far from the lake itself. We've had veterans that have actually preferred to come to this home because of the fishing, the outdoor activities, and just being near the lake. And so it's very beautiful. Kind of has a lodge-like setting, lodge-like feel to it. And again, really working to accommodate individuals and their desire to be active through their whole life. All right, so then we have Laverne, Minnesota. And so again, Laverne is down in the southwest part of the state. It has 85 skilled nursing beds and is one of those really nice nursing homes that has become very much a part of the community that they reside in. And so they're very, very much involved in all of the community efforts. And again, they've got a lot of community involvement. It's a very calm, peaceful place to be. But again, you can see that they've got recreations and things that they do. They make certain that they honor and care for the veterans that live in this part of the state. Fergus Falls is our next state veterans home. Fergus Falls is again on the western part of the state, fairly near the North Dakota border. And again, working at making certain that veterans are honored and cared for. 106 skilled beds in this facility, but working very hard to make certain that veterans are very central to all the care that's provided. And we're very, very pleased to have high ratings in all of these nursing homes. We've got satisfaction scores that are extremely high. People have really enjoyed their time with us at all of our homes, and so we've enjoyed caring for them. So again, it was really good for me coming from the federal system to this system to know that it was really already so robust with quality and caring individuals. So our domiciliary program, we have 200 beds in Hastings, Minnesota, And then we have 50 beds in the Minneapolis campus, so south of the nursing home on the same campus. So again, the purpose of these programs are really to help people get back on their feet, help them live as independently as possible. We have a robust work therapy program. So some of our residents have off-site jobs, but they just need a little extra help. They need maybe some help with their medical needs. They maybe need some help with sobriety. They maybe need some help with ongoing mental health issues. And for whatever reason, they struggle when they live by themselves and try to manage everything by themselves. But when they come to live with us and have some additional supports in place, they're able to do a little bit more and they're able to thrive. These individuals are not considered being in a nursing home. So in the state of Minnesota, there is a designation called boarding care, and that is how this facility is licensed. In the federal system, this is recognized as a domiciliary, and these used to be quite popular across the country. This is part of where many of our state veterans homes came from, in that it ended up being housing for our military as they started to age. As we know more and more people want to live in their own communities, this has become less of a part of the everyday aspect of an aging veteran's life, but it still remains available for those who need it. Minnesota Statute 9050, waiting lists. I need to explain this to you because, again, I talked about the fact that we didn't have the ability to always admit people on an emergency basis, or if they would fall and break their hips. And that's because we have in Minnesota a statute that really requires us to have a waiting list. So it requires us to have an active and an inactive waiting list, and that determines the admission priority of the veterans. And so again, you can just about imagine that our waiting list is quite long. In some facilities, we only have a waiting list of 20 or 30 people at most, but in our larger facilities, we can have several hundred that are waiting. So when a bed becomes available, the person's name comes up on the list, and we need to make certain that those individuals meet the criteria for nursing home care. As you know, it's not all that easy to just sell your home and move into a nursing home like people used to do. And so you have to have the right clinical needs as well. And so if the individual's name comes up and either they aren't sick enough to qualify for nursing home care, or perhaps they're doing quite well, they've decided to stay at home and they have family that have come to take care of them, then they can choose whether or not they want to remain on the waiting list or if they want to be taken off. If they remain, they go to the back of the line, and again, then they come around again. So how can individuals be placed on the waiting list? And all of this information is on our website. And again, you can see that the individuals are going to be filling out the form. It's a oh, we got somebody with an open mic. It's a 3-page form. There's documents that you need to provide. And again, if it looks like this is an awful lot of paperwork, the purpose is that then prepares you for admission so that you need to bring less paperwork with you when you actually need that care and service. Again, how long you wait depends on the home that you're waiting for. Each home has their own waiting list, but we have had individuals that have put their name on several homes waiting lists at one time and waited for the first bed to open. So again, we really try to accommodate people with their needs, but sometimes we actually have to ask people to use their VA benefits as they prepare to use their state benefits. So the VA federal benefits can sometimes help out with a bridge stay, like a nursing home stay that would be paid for at times by the federal VA prior to coming to us. We have a lot of resources available, both for our veterans and those that care for them. We have career opportunities. If you're not ready to be admitted and live in a nursing home setting at this point in time, we certainly have career opportunities for individuals as well. And our list is constantly changing. Right now, we actually have an administrator opening. I want to make sure you had the contact information that's included here. And again, it's minnesotaveteran.org or the 1888 link that, in case you'd like to learn some more about these programs. So I think that Becca and I have filled our time quite significantly